Hey there, I am Kiara
And this is
J.
Samaria Lee.
And we have our dear friend Carneke with us today. This is one of our besties from New York. And we are super proud of Carneke. He is making
Yes.
waves in New York, like changing lives with his current job title. He's a teacher, but he's also a BCBA instructor, which deals with children with autism, which is near and dear to my heart because I have people that are close to me that have children that have autism. And I seen a homegirl of mine a while ago, and we had a long conversation, and she was talking about how hard it is being a mother of a child with autism. And she kind of looked defeated, as if ever she took it one day at a time. So I just knew that it was something that was hard for her, and I wanted to reach out to you, Carneke, so you can spread your mastery with the subject, because I don't know too much about it, but I know that you can like shed light on the what's going on, and you can kind of like help some of these young mothers that are going through it, because it seems like it's fairly new, especially in our community.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like first and foremost, like what inspired you to work with children with autism, and how has the journey shaped you personally and professionally?
So yeah, like you said, I'm a teacher. So I began. So like you said, it's new, especially in our generation. When we was growing up, we didn't see a lot of children with autism unless we didn't wasn't aware of it. So when as an educator, I wanted to help those kids that were coming into the classroom on the spectrum. So my school didn't provide that support or that resource to help them. So I just took it upon myself to enlighten myself and to learn more about it so I could help the ones that was in my classroom.
Oh, so you had actual like students that were in your classroom, and they were on the spectrum and they didn't get like help for it?
Yes, because our school don't support those type of kids and that are on the spectrum. So there are kids that's on the spectrum but they high, and there's some kids that are low. Low meaning that they are not verbal. They cannot live the day to day and do their daily living skills. When you're high functioning, meaning that you are communicating with us, but there are some aspects where you can't be social with your peers in the classroom.
Oh.
I didn't even know that.
Neither did I. So functional kids, completely functional kids, they do everything like the rest of the kids, but you can tell just they have like slight
Yeah, they
characteristics.
social awareness is off, and they academically are more advanced than other kids in the classroom.
And that's something I watched a Lifetime movie about two autistic boys, and they was extraordinary. It's like they had gifts, particular gifts that they from birth. This is what they were into, and they did it like super well. It was a very inspiring movie. But okay, so if they're in your classroom, they learn from the same curriculum.
Yeah, they learn for the same curriculum. However, it's up to the teacher's discretion to make their work more challenging for them. That way, they're not bored or lacking of. They need to be challenged basically. So we make it more challenging for them based on their needs.
Okay, so they academically smarter.
Uh-huh.
Okay, you hear that, parents? All the parents out there that believe like they have autistic children, they are more advanced. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they're more advanced. A lot of parents think that since their kids are more advanced doing things that other kids aren't doing, like playing games and things like that, they always want to do education, or they feel like something is wrong with them. Which I feel like is a good thing because they're not brainwashed by the things that they see on YouTube and things like that, like these other kids.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a positive, but a lot of parents look at it as a negative.
That's a good perspective.
Yeah, it is. it's a really good perspective, because when I watch movies with kids with autism, right, they always know how to do things that we don't. Like, they could sit here and take this computer apart and then put it all back together and make it work better than before. So maybe their brain is maybe overdeveloped instead of underdeveloped.
And there's something in the frontal lobe that they say that is working faster than others. It's more developed, and the process is just more faster than the average human brain.
Wow.
So should they be in the classroom? Because I feel like if they accelerated, then maybe they should be like levels ahead. Like, you know how you children skip grades?
Yeah. So,
I would think that.
I don't think schools, at least in New York City, don't do that. But however, there are schools for kids who are challenging, and that's another, issue we have. We could tell the parents that this is not the setting for the kids, but it's up to the parents' discretion to take them out or to leave them. A lot of parents leave their kids knowing that they can excel somewhere else. So it's up to the parents' discretion to move them to a different setting where they know they could benefit their needs. Or a lot of parents just leave them in that setting because it's more convenient, or they don't know their rights where they can get free busing and things like that to have them where they need to be.
And also, I think that a lot of parents like you said, they looking at it as a negative thing, and so they're in denial about it. Like, no, my kid gonna stay in this school with, because they're trying to force their kid to be as regular as possible, not knowing that this is a great thing. Like, your child can go much further if they was in a different setting versus the setting that they're in with the other children.
Yeah, and a lot, like you said, regular. I'll be telling a lot of parents, like, what is regular?
Right.
Like, what does that even look like? You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
because that's what they want, right?
That again?
Because you asking them, like, what is regular? So they're saying that word, right? Like, my child is regular. Like, wow.
And some parents have a hard time even acknowledging that, I guess because they don't want to seem like there's something wrong with their child. But if people had the more awareness about autism, and to know like your child is nothing wrong with them, then and change it to a positive. Because I look at it as they're kind of gifted. Then they may be more open. Because I think some people don't even get like the necessary help. Like in New York, y'all have that program, but I think that most of the children here, they may have programs for that, but they just go to regular school and then the parent just figure it out along the way.
Okay, so can you share a memorable moment, or a breakthrough that you've experienced with any of your students who's experiencing autism that really like touched your heart?
Yeah, so before I was a BCBA, which is the Board Certified Behavior Analyst, I was a ABA therapist working with the kids hands-on. So when I first started in this field, it'd be the small moments that's progress. So it was a client that I had, and he was unable to socialize with his peers at the park. So when I was able to help him initiate that engagement, initiate play, his mother's very proud. It's something, it may be something small to others, but it's something big to us. And that helped us know that he was growing as an individual, and was able to learn how to interact with peers without pushing or being aggressive or anything. So he would ask, you want to play? Instead of just being aggressive and pushing. So that shed a tear to her eye to see that her kid was able to make that step towards his success.
And because you did it in front of her, it might have helped her learn how to interact with him and engage with him in a way that helps him also communicate with other kids when you are not around.
Yes, and also a lot of parents think, it's supposed to happen overnight, but it's going to take some time. It's going to take time and practice. So whatever I'm doing with the kid, they have to do as well at home. It just can't be done, and that's it. It has to be practiced continuously at home, generalized in different settings, wherever he's at.
Do you see that, like, sometimes with your clients, that like the way that they behave can also be like a reflection of how it is at home? Because I remember when I used to drive the Metro Access bus, we had a child that had autism, and she was really aggressive to like the staff that work. But when we saw her come out of her home, her parents were aggressive with her, because I guess that's the only way they knew how to get her to listen. But they were really, really rough getting her inside the vehicle. And then when she got on the bus, she was rough with the lady. But the lady that handled her most of the time, she was telling me, she was like, her parents are really rough with her. She said, but when I handle her like calmly, and it settles her down. And like, that's the only staff member that she doesn't behave that way with. So you think that that's a correlation between like home life and when they come out into the world, like how they act?
Yes, I would agree that it is a correlation of how they treat at home versus, treated in school or somewhere else. Because a lot of parents don't have patience, because they deal with this all the time, 24/7. They want to have to live with the kid. I have friends who have kids on the spectrum as well, and they express to me how it's different because they deal with their child, in their words at home. So sometimes they have to just learn patience. Opposed to somebody who's dealing with them for 5-6 hours, maybe less than that a day, you're gonna have more patience because you want to de-escalate the behavior at its best. That way you can just go throughout the day. Patience comes with a lot when dealing with this in this field.
So what tips do you have for that? Like for parents who
There's a lot of reinforcements. A lot of parents don't. I wouldn't say a lot of parents don't, but I feel like they should push reinforcements more. So if you want this, you got to do this first. That way you got to do something for me, then you get what you want. Or a token system. Let's take a award chart. So you didn't scream today, so here's a star. Or that way they can monitor their own behavior and know that they're working towards something. So if I scream, then I'm not going to get my favorite ice cream. Or if I...
No, I understand, but
my child need that too.
Yeah, that's the same.
Not just on autistic kids, but it works on everyone. It's behavior. That way they're working towards something to lead them accountable. That way they know and self-aware of their behavior. Well, if I do this, I won't get that, so let me not do it because I want that. Once I get 5 stars, I know I'm gonna get this. So that's what I do with a lot of my clients.
I need to try that system.
Yeah, because they are the same as other children, but like you said, it's the patience, and I feel like the frustration. I feel like the frustration coming from the parents might trigger their behavior, and just like with all kids, because if I'm frustrated with my daughter, she's acting out as well. She don't want me yelling at her, and so I'm practicing patience as well with my child, just so that the reinforcement. I'm practicing the reinforcement with her so that she can learn to behave in a manner that that I like.
Yes.
Because
well, ain't gonna get that, but
yeah. So I feel like they all. So they just it's the same. It's the same, but the parents of the kids on the spectrum, they might be a little more frustrated, and not just because they have to deal with it every day, but just because as well they might just they battling whether or not it's something wrong with their kid, so they having a little more frustration than we have.
Yeah, I believe that as well. A lot of parents don't know how to address certain behaviors when it comes to kids on the spectrum, because they feel like they trying to differentiate being a parent, discipline, and being like an instructor as well, trying to manage their emotions and their behavior. So a lot of parents are more parents than trying to help them with their daily living, if that makes sense. A lot of parents need to be inform them steps and strategies how to work with their own kid. But a lot of parents may see it as is they have parenting issues, but that's not the case.
You only work with children, or do you work with adults as too?
The oldest client I had was 19.
Okay, so that's
He was
kind of okay. So, what are some common misconceptions about autism?
A lot of people believe that they won't grow as an individual or be able to make that step to live that life as an ordinary child. A lot of parents, not just parents, people in general, don't feel that there are strategies or interventions out there that can help them without even going out there to do the research to want to help their own kid or their own student or whatnot.
I have a question.
Okay.
Like, because I grew up with someone who was autistic, and then I also ended up going on a date with someone who was autistic, but he didn't tell me until we were on the date. But one thing I realized is, like, they're pretty independent people, but they, like, one of them lives on the same property as their mother, and then the other lives with their parent. So is it kind of hard for them to, like, separate from the person that they were kind of, like, dependent on for so long?
I wouldn't say it probably went hard for them, but it probably could be hard for the parents.
Yeah, I was about to say
so much about their child that they feel like if they, and that's another thing. A lot of them don't allow them to try to be independent. So therefore, it's always that scaffolding where the parents is always there to support them. So it's the parent, I would say, it's not more so the child. The parent has a fear of letting them loose and living on their own.
I would agree with that. I would say the parent, because like you, as you grow up, you want to be on your own. Like even little kids, they want to do their own thing, and then the older they get, like you want to be on your own. But your parents, like you said, used to be worried so much about everything. So I get why they want to be close. But it was good that they allowed that your friend to live on his own, even though they gave him some sort of independence.
Yeah, like it's like his mother's house and then like his house on the same property. Like they have in Waldorf, like they just have land.
That's cute though.
Yeah. That's good. That way she is there but not there at the same time.
Yeah. So like when you're working with like your clients, how do you celebrate the unique strengths and abilities of each child you work with? I know you said like gold stars and
I do a lot of praises. Good job. Oh my God, you did so amazing. Like if one of my clients yesterday was working on daily living skills, getting dressed by himself. So he struggled with fine motor skills by buttoning up his shirts. So I'll be like pull and turn, so you know to push the button through and pull it. So even though I helped him a little bit, I still praised him. Like with the class, that he was so excited. Like then he was so excited that he went out the room to show his mom that he put on his shirt. Even though it was assisted, I still give him that praise because he still was willing to do it. Because a lot of them get frustrated when they can't do something, but he pushed through and persevered through that.
Okay. All right. I think we talked a little bit about like the strategies that you use to help your clients, but like which ones do you find most effective in like building trust and communication with children? Because communicating with children is a little bit, it's different. But so, go ahead.
It is different, and it all depends on the client, because sometimes when you are new to the kid, it's hard to build that relationship straight off the bat. They are very shy. Sometimes they're timid. Some of them are friendly. So it depends on the client. Sometimes it takes 2 weeks to build that relationship until they put them to get into the routine to see a new phase. Or sometimes it can take less than that. Sometimes it can take even longer than 2 weeks. So it is all about doing what they like to do and not forcing any strategies or anything. So if they like to play with Play-Doh with them. If they like to dance, just dance. Just get into their world so they can understand, okay, this person's here to have fun with me and help me. So you just got to do everything that they like to do so they can be more engaged instead of forcing any goals or interventions on them.
Okay, you could kind of tie that into your teaching career too, like with your students, kind of like the same thing.
Yeah, that correlates the same.
Yeah. So, like, how do you feel like at the end of a day of working? I I know you get tired because I mean we're parents and we get tired. So
it's like I feel accomplished, but at the same time, my body feel like drained. You know, you gotta be a kid at that moment. You gotta be jittery. You gotta be funky, and you know, just gotta be a kid all over again. So that's a lot of energy.
Yeah.
You just cannot sit there and be an adult with them. You know, you gotta be, oh my God, let's go play. To get Jackie, you did this. You know, you gotta be very animated with them. So
okay.
Whew, that's like my full-time job with one. So I can imagine with many.
All right, how do you approach challenges when a child is struggling with a specific skill or behavior?
I approach challenges a lot. Sometimes I still struggle with challenges, especially when it comes to tantrums. It's hard to decrease certain tantrums when they are out of control. So a lot of times I just give them a moment to decrease, because if you're saying relax, they don't want to hear that. So I give them a moment to express themselves. If you're angry, okay, throw this, do that, kick the ball. A lot of times I give them fidgets, squeeze it. That way it's like a stress ball. I give them that so that way they can relieve their stress, or I come up with replacement behaviors. So if a kid likes to kick something, we got a trampoline where you can bounce up and down just to relieve that stress. So I just come up with different replacement behaviors that's positive to manage those behaviors.
So I'm taking notes because my child throws tantrums all the time, and she like to kick stuff, and so a positive behavior for her. Well, I don't have a trampoline in here, but what can I do if I don't have like a trampoline?
Because we don't want to say stop doing that, because if we're gonna let them feel like it's not okay to be upset when it is okay to be upset about something.
Okay.
As humans, as adults, we get upset. We just gotta learn how to understand how to deal with those emotions. So if she kicks and stuff, understand why. You know, she's able to communicate with you. So you can ask her, why are you upset, or let her take a run or walk somewhere, run around the house. Just something that's not harming others and harming yourself. I feel like that can work as well. I feel like people in general, but like, stop yelling, stop screaming. It's like, but then we allow them to feel like it's not okay to be upset.
And that's why we
all the time.
And then we grow up feeling like we don't have the outlet.
Yeah.
And we need to go to the rage room and throw stuff and yell to the top of our lungs. That makes sense. Sometimes I'm good with that. Sometimes I'm not. Like sometimes I do tell Nas like, okay, you entitled to that. Like, go ahead, cry, but don't sit in my face and cry. I'm gonna go to the living room while you crying here. But
you can set a timer. You can set a timer. Okay, I'm gonna give you the time to cry. When the timer goes off, you should stop crying. That way, she's have that time to decompose and everything and come back.
Okay.
She go in the closet and scream, I need a break.
I do.
That's our first reaction, to react like that. But sometimes we gotta look at things at a different aspect. I'm a teacher, so I know more strategies, but sometimes I don't practice my own strategies, with my own family or relatives.
I go into the closet, and that's how I decompress, and I do that because I don't want to yell at her.
Yeah, that's good though.
I don't want her to see me upset. I don't want her to see me that frustrated, because I don't want her to think that she's making me frustrated. So sometimes I think parents have to understand that it's not what the child doing that's making you frustrated. It's whatever you already got going on in your own personal life that's making you frustrated. And the kids' hyperactiveness or whatever the case may be, them keep calling your name or asking you the same question or them crying, it adds on to your everyday life. And so you can't really take it out on that child. So I go into the closet, and that's how I decompress. But I don't want her, she might can hear it a little bit, but I don't want to do it in front of her. Or I don't want to yell at her. Every time I yell at my child, I feel bad. Every single time. I feel so bad. Like, why are you yelling at her? She's just a child. She don't know. And some things I even say, like when I was doing my makeup, I set her on the sink. I'm like, see, this why I didn't want to sit you on the sink, because you knocking everything down. You in my way. And then I have to feel bad, like, stop talking to her like that. But I'm able to check myself when it happened. I hear myself doing it, and I'm able to say, you know what, next time you can't say that to her. Because oftentimes kids grow up feeling like they are a problem because of the parent. And we doing the best that we can. Like, we don't want to, a lot of parents don't want to take accountability on the fact that they are the reason that their child is the way their child is, or have the attitude that they have, because of the way that some of the things that we said to them, some of the ways that we talk to them. And so I try to check myself so I don't become that, like, so that she can not grow up feeling some rage and anger because of traumatic experiences that she experiencing with her mom. You know, and a lot of us parents, we blame the kid, but no, like, you already frustrated because of your life, and you taking it out on an innocent child just because kids are overly active.
Yeah, and sometimes it's not what we say, it's how we say it.
Yeah.
Think you know what's gonna be the actions after that. So it's like sometimes as parents we set ourselves up for failure, knowing that we shouldn't put her on the same, because you know something's gonna happen. So.
Yeah. Exactly. So you're blaming the child when you really should be blaming yourself. Like, why would you put her up here? You know she gonna knock stuff over. You already know that she's a child. She don't know not to, but you put her there anyway, and then you what? Yell at her when she do it. Like, we have to be aware of that.
It takes skill.
That's why I said, like, it's not what you said, probably how you said it to her. Because sometimes they have to understand, if I put you in the same, I know you're gonna knock it down, but you shouldn't knock it down. Just be calm. So it's not. It's just what you say.
Yeah.
How you say.
And me, I have conversations with my daughter. So when I do get out of line, she'll be like, "You said you were never gonna yell at me again." I said, "You know what? You are absolutely right, and I'm so sorry." Because we had those talks. I'd be like, "I'm not gonna yell at you no more, but you have to listen to me." And she be like, okay, and then she don't listen, and then I yell, and she be like, you said you were never gonna yell.
So once again, it's what you're saying to her. So she feel like you can say, you're not gonna yell at her, but she's still gonna do that behavior. So you can say, I'm sorry for yelling at you, but these are the things that make me yell at you. So she could be aware not to do those things to not make you yell. Okay,
gotcha.
But by telling her that she's not gonna yell, she's still gonna be the diva and knock things down, do what she wanna do, and you say you're not gonna yell at her. So
I gotta explain the full. You
gotta just explain to her why. See, I was listening to a podcast episode. It was a guy. He was, I think maybe a child psychologist, but he was explaining how to raise your kid. And again, like, sometimes you are being the best parent that you can be, but you cannot baby your child like that. He's letting you know that let your children make the decisions that they want to make, but you have to also let them know the consequences that come behind that. So instead of telling them, you better share your toys, no, let them not share their toys, and let them feel the consequence of other kids not sharing with them when they don't want to share. Because in life, that's what's going to happen. If something happens to you, nobody's going to baby your child how you're babying them. So they have to know that its consequences comes behind every single decision that they make. And he said it teaches them to be better decision makers. So if you make them do stuff against their will, they never gonna really learn how to make decisions on their own. Okay. It's tough. It's tough. It's tough being a parent. So I can only imagine, dealing with kids that are on the spectrum or just have other challenges. Because it really is a lot. So, what advice would you give to parents who are, new parents that have a child that's on the spectrum?
So my advice I would give parents is that just to be patient, be calm. Also, just trust that it won't happen over time, but it will happen. A lot of parents believe that it's supposed to happen the next day when they're working on these goals or these interventions. So it's just all about being patient and believing in yourself and your child.
Okay. And should they seek like special help instead of just letting them go through school? Because like you said, like they are more advanced. So like should they get like specialized help for their children?
Yeah, so as a BCBA, we are the ones who provide the help. We provide the ABA services where client therapists come to the home to work with your kid, work with your child for 2 to 3 hours a day on the aspects they need. It could be daily living skills, communication, socializing with peers, turn taking, sharing, parallel play. So ABA will be a great opportunity for children on the spectrum to grow as individuals, and parents should do more research that way they can understand how it works. A lot of parents, when they first join ABA, not sure how it works. They think, like I was saying before, it's supposed to happen the next day. Since we are professionals, they think everything's supposed to happen within a week or so. But the littlest things is a success. Like I was saying before, saying if a kid is nonverbal, saying hello is a big step.
Yeah.
So is ABA like an after school thing, or how does it work?
So it could, certain schools provide it in school.
Okay.
It's services they can get in school and at home.
Okay.
So they get in-home services and at school. Sometimes they get one or the other or both if they qualify for it. It depends on the severity of the kid on the spectrum.
Okay. Is it government funded?
Not government funded, but it go through insurance.
Oh, okay. All right. We might have something similar in DC. I'm not sure, but they may have something.
I have a lot of. So when I first started working in this field, I didn't know how many kids on the spectrum. It's a lot, and the cases is growing large and large each and every day.
Wow.
When I was looking area in Virginia area, there's a lot of need for that out there. There's a lot.
Oh, so you can relocate, come over here with us. Come help us out.
So, he's from New York, right? Is there like some type of, like, does autism affect like inner city kids more than it does,
Was that
That's a good question.
everybody else, or is
suburban
it
kids?
just, yeah, or is it just like, because I know that there are some people that think like, oh, once they give their kids certain like vaccines, that's how they get autism. Like, when I think it may really be like your genetic makeup or something like that. So like, but is there like any type of statistic that like shows that it may affect a certain demographic more than the other?
Not that I know of. I'm not gonna tell you something I don't know, but I don't think it depends on the area of where they live at. I don't think that plays a major role in that.
I can pick up on when you said the vaccination, because my friend, she have a friend who child developed, she became autistic after receiving a vaccination. Her child, I think her child was 4 years old, and her child never showed signs of autism, and then after she received the vaccination, that's when it started. So she really believed that's what it came from. So some parents might have a valid point there, but that might just not be the only. I mean, it could be a reaction to certain vaccinations with kids, because when we receive medicine in our bodies, everybody is different. We don't know how we'll react to certain medications, and because of kids are so young when they receive vaccinations, it could mess with their brain development. So that might be a valid. But then, like you said, it also might be your genetic makeup, and we're just not aware of what it's coming from. When we were kids, I didn't know many kids who were autistic, but I do know one guy around our neighborhood who was different. we didn't, I mean, back then it wasn't really a such thing as autism, but he had the characteristics of autism. And one time, like, he sat on my lap and he would not get up, and he was like so strong. And so I know he probably, like, you know, had some form of autism.
Yeah. Even when I was growing up, it was always he different. Like, it wasn't like he's autistic. It was like he's different.
That's like a new term.
Yeah, I can agree. But I see what you're saying, Barb, about the vaccines. But sometimes when the child is born, they don't always show the signs so early.
Okay.
Age as well. So I can understand why the parent probably correlated the vaccine with the cause of autism, because sometimes it may show up after they start developing.
Okay, so it don't have to be like
as early
initially, like it can just
it could show up later on.
Can it show up like around? Is it possible for, what is the age that it usually like sets in? Like, you just know, like, my kid is autistic or my kid is clear.
A lot of parents would know at those 2 or 3 year olds when they're not doing the milestones they're supposed to be doing, like crawling, walking, or is it delays in certain things, and mimicking. A lot of kids will mimic what you say instead of responding what you say. The repetition, it could when they just repeat everything you say. So I know at a certain age a child should be walking, and some kids don't walk at a certain age, or define motor skills and they're able to grasp the spoon or hold the bottle. That's a big thing too, when they're holding a bottle at a certain age and they can't do that. So those are early signs, things to pay attention to.
What are some of the other signs, like besides verbal? I know you said mimicking,
eye contact, socializing with peers.
Do they
engaging in back-up conversation? Say it again.
Is it like when you say eye contact? Are they always looking in your eyes, or they have a problem?
They won't.
They would talk to you like this. Even when we call their name, they wouldn't look at you. They just look away.
Okay, so what about the way that they walk? Because I seen a kid that walks on their tippy toes, and they said that was a sign.
Yeah, that can be a sign, but I wouldn't 100% say they're autistic unless there's other signs to go with that.
Okay.
Are there any children who are autistic that has like zero signs? Or maybe like a very slight one.
When I first got him, they say he was autistic, and I learned that it doesn't mean that. Well, that's ABA itself. Well, they say he was autistic and he was able to read, write. He was only 5 years old, spell big words, read big books, and I didn't see where was he autistic at. Then it came to the part where he just didn't know how to socialize with others. That was his only issue. He didn't know how to socialize with his other peers, engage and play. Academically, verbally, cognitively, he was very smart.
So can they label that as autistic, or is he just like socially?
He has social anxiety,
or he might be an introvert.
I think it's like highly functioning, because like the guy that I was dating, if he didn't tell me, I wouldn't have known. But there are certain things that he told me, like, okay, if he in social situations, if he gets overwhelmed, like he plays with his fingers a lot. So he wore a lot of rings, and he said he wears rings because when he gets like overwhelmed, he plays with his fingers.
Overstimulated.
Yeah, overstimulated. He plays with his fingers. But the issue with me was I felt like he was often hypersexual at times where he shouldn't have been.
What?
And I didn't know how to deal with it.
That plays a role in it too.
For real? Yeah. Hypersexuality?
Yeah,
so,
and ADHD. Yeah.
So
I did hear
okay,
ADHD
elaborate
hypersexuality.
So like we were on a date, and I had told him, mind you, this was only like the second or third date, and I had pretty much told him that like at the stage that we were, I wasn't thinking about like having sex. Like it wasn't something. I pretty much told him it's not gonna happen tonight. Like I don't know what you had in your mind, but it's not gonna happen. I didn't say it like that, but I was just like, right now it's not something that I want to engage in. And because we were in a public setting, I was like, and I prefer not to like go in depth. Like maybe later we can, but right now time and place. His immediate response was, well, can I suck your titties? I was just like, I never, like, I'm
like
not
right there
outside.
Like
I get embarrassed, but in that moment, I felt embarrassed.
It's like,
But is that? I mean, cause I feel like I know some guys that might be like that.
But
So are we? So my question is, okay, because I do know some guys that you might say that to who's not on the spectrum, that you might be like, you know what, this not the time or the place, and they might be like, well, let me do this.
And he did warn me that like that's one of the things that like he said that some things come out like word vomit.
that's what I was about to say. Something like,
but he says it anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. It was at the end of the day I was like, I gotta make a
I'm on the
choice.
spectrum because I don't like to be around people. Like,
And that was for real.
I have social anxiety, so I'm like, wait.
That's what I'm saying. So like, that's my thing, right? So are they? My question would be, are they adding things to put a label on you that it's just kind of like normal behavior? Like, a lot of people have social anxiety.
Or it's a spectrum for a reason.
A lot of people sexually active, and so are they just adding these things to the list? I feel like that's an important question as well. You know, to put you under a certain like label. Because if there's no other characteristics that come with like being hypersexual, are you autistic?
right under the spectrum of autism, basically.
Right. So okay, so that's a question that I'm like, that's something that I would be a little confused about. It's a little tricky to me because I feel like you can have social anxiety, not like to be around people, be introverted, because that's what they would normally call that, introvert. Or somebody who don't like speaking in public. A lot of people don't like speaking in public. Would they label you autistic because you don't like speaking in public? Is that really autism, or
I think it's how you respond when you're
in that situation?
Yeah, maybe.
Is that it, Carneke, like the response when you're in the situation?
I would believe so because sometimes I'll like the same question Murray's asking. I will ask those same questions. Like, even though I'm in the field, I'm not there with the pediatrician or anyone, like the actual professionals, to see how they run their tests. So I would speak to my friends who are parents because they are the ones that speak to pediatricians to see how they run these tests, what steps do they take, how do they evaluate the kid, and things like that.
Okay. What's the most challenging client that you had? Like, how out there can it get?
My most challenging client was the 19-year-old. He had a lot of tantrums because he does not know when to stop eating. He has like no bottom to his stomach, so if he doesn't get food, he would tantrum. And he's a bigger client, so that was the most challenging. He actually bit me before. That's how bad it was. Yeah.
Did he break your skin?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
How did you get him to stop?
I just pushed his head away and told him to go into bed because I feel like that's a safe space. And he likes to do self-injuries, like bang his head on the wall and things like that. We don't get his way. So my thing was to go into bed and let him just bang his head on the pillow in the bed where it's a safe sort of spot to do it. And he calmed down eventually.
Okay.
That was a good way to deal with it. Patience.
Like you said. How do you practice your own self-care? Cause I feel like, because I feel like I've had this thing where like my self-care is very important. So if I have to get up 2-3 hours before my daughter wake up and do what I have to do, that's what I've been trying to do. Because you gotta take care of you first before you walk into that door and take care of other people's prized possessions, their children.
That's what I'm trying to do this year. I feel like put myself first and just work on myself, and that's the goal that I'm working on this year.
Okay.
Self-care.
Yeah.
So you say you take vacations. You dress up.
But I feel like that's in the long run. I need something that's immediate, like self-care that I can work on and do.
Do you think you engage in retail therapy? You know you always look cute.
But that's a goal. I need to stop shopping and stuff. But that make me feel good. So, you know.
Buying new things make me feel good too, especially when I order them and then it say deliver and I get to open the package. I just feel like really good about that.
That's my problem.
Yeah,
And you don't wear them. That's because you're too busy.
That was just a habit, just to not wear.
That's called retail therapy. That's your self-care. That's your form of self-care that you had that you're trying to release. You're working on releasing.
Yeah, I need to replace it with something else.
Did you go to the gym?
I haven't been to the gym in so long. I stopped.
Yeah, we gotta start that. But I said I was gonna
start. My day don't end 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
I'm on the weekends. On the weekends, I just want to sleep.
That's okay. So we have to rebalance. Yeah. That's how our lives are right now. But soon,
trying to get out of that.
Yeah.
We don't want to be too old too quick. So trying to stay as young as possible.
Even though we look good at our age, but
yeah.
But I'm trying to get 4 a.m. is my goal. I've been getting up a little bit early, but not 4 a.m. That's my goal, is to get up at 4 a.m. to take care of me so that I can be healthy for my child. Because you basically helping other people like move their kids along. Like, that's a big thing. And to do that with like multiple kids, I only have one, so I know like it takes a lot for you to do that. Like, I take my head off to you, because when I'm dealing with my one, I always be like, how do people do it with their multiples? I only have one, and it's a lot.
My one feel like 5.
Yeah, but you just make sure you take care of you first, like, because you doing important work. Like, it's people out here need it. And I'm trying to go back in time to where I seen so many children have it, because I don't remember that. Like, this one child that she's talking about that was in our neighborhood, I had to go back in my memory bank and see if I even remember that child, because I don't remember that when I was in school, like having children like that in our classrooms.
He wasn't in our school. He was in our neighborhood.
Yeah, I'm saying in the schools too, but I don't remember. I feel like it's something that's just, I don't know why I feel like it's so new. Like, it's just going.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Like, when I was growing up, I didn't know nothing about autism. When I was in school, they used to have like that one class,
special education.
It is, but I didn't know nothing about autism or anything.
Or maybe the name was just different, because back then it used to be mentally challenged. So maybe they just changed the name.
Yeah.
Because I remember having mentally challenged children, and they were in special education. They were not in our classrooms.
They
with
had to
us.
be in a restricted classroom, a smaller setting.
But see, those children, they were like literally had to get help off the bus and stuff. Like, they couldn't do anything.
Yeah, there's like handicap or something.
Yeah, they couldn't do anything on their own. So,
well, some of them could. I used to have a boyfriend that was in special ed. And he was very much
everybody that was in special ed wasn't as mentally challenged though. They just wasn't learned.
Disability.
No, yeah, that's why I'm
saying in that one setting.
That's why I'm saying, because you said special ed, and then you said they couldn't do nothing for themselves.
I'm talking about the mentally challenged children.
When the guy told me he was autistic, I was like, okay, I'm gonna try. You know,
but what happened?
I don't want to immediately shoot it.
He was hypersexual.
He made me. It is very rare that I feel embarrassed. He made me feel embarrassed, and when I would bring things up, he lacked the ability to take accountability. And I found myself
after he told you or before he told you.
He said,
"Did you feel that way after or before he told you?"
About the I felt that way after, and he because he was making so many excuses, and I'm not really the type of person to make excuses for myself. So I found myself I was typing something to him, and I was like, dang, I'm about to sit here and make excuses for you, but I don't make excuses for myself.
Do you think you would have felt? Do you think you would have noticed all these things if he never told you he was autistic?
If he wouldn't have told me, I wouldn't have noticed. Yeah, the issue still would have been there.
You would have just took it for a regular. He just a guy.
Yeah,
regular.
I don't
guy.
think he acted that way. The hypersexuality in the word vomit stuff, I think, was slightly, because of the autism. But everything else, I think, was because of the type of person he was. And that's what I was trying to get him. Like, he talked bad about people, like was calling them bastard. I'm like, it's 2024. I haven't heard somebody use that word in a while.
Oh my goodness, girl.
Yeah, and I don't talk about people like that. So I'm like, I just gotta cut myself, away from this situation.
I got it.
He probably lacked, what you call it?
Empathy.
Compassion. Because of his autism, it hindered.
Social awareness.
Yeah, it hindered him from being able, like, he had just from him saying, like, well, can I do this? Like, it's like what she said didn't really matter because.
The Good Doctor is like that.
Yeah, the Good Doctor like that. He don't mean to be. You watch that show?
No, but I've seen it a few episodes. I don't watch it frequently.
He don't mean to be, but he just tell it like it is.
He's
like,
straightforward. Very
he will tell somebody that he a doctor, but if they sick, he be like, well, you might die tomorrow, so you need to have this surgery. But it kind of like, it was good for them to know, like, because the doctors was trying to dance around what the issue was when he'd be like, no, you have this and you need to get it fixed or you're gonna die. Mm-hmm. And they like, well, you don't have good bedside manner, but he was just being honest. And he was like blunt.
Yeah, and that's what I think, like, autism is sometimes. Like, somebody could be very highly functional, we don't recognize it, but when it comes to those social interactions, that's where it's like, okay, something's not clicking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Our neighbor, her son is he's on the spectrum and he's very intentional. So, like, if I say I think it was like 5 p.m. one time, and I was like, have a good night. He's like, it's not night yet. Mm-hmm. So, like, they are very intentional on how they speak and the words they use when they talk. Like,
and they're usually
it means a lot.
I think
very precise.
Yeah, they were very precise.
I'm starting to think we the ones that need to take notes and be more like.
I agree.
No, seriously,
Yeah.
seriously.
They make the world more. I feel like they make the world simpler. Mm-hmm. Like, it's cut and dry. It is what it is. Like, you're sick. Like,
and
we make stuff complicated.
They don't give a fuck. They are who they
Don't
are.
y'all think that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we complicate stuff by thinking too much when they just come out and say, like, your shirt is purple, when we might be like, well, it might be a little bit of lavender and a little violet. Like, we just add too much sauce to everything when they just go straight forward with what they need to say, and they not thinking about if it's gonna hurt your feelings or not. It's the truth, and it's their perception, what they see in their eyes.
But the truth
and we
is
can
better
learn
than
from them.
lies.
Yeah, we can learn from them.
That's why I like the Good Doctor. I feel like if something is wrong with me, be straightforward. Like, don't cut no corners and go around no. Look, if you don't do this, you're gonna die. Yeah. Because sometimes that's what people need to hear for them to get that discipline click in their head.
Yeah.
Like, I better exercise every day. Some people, I think you need to exercise. You might need to stop drinking. You're looking at you can live with this, but you gotta stop drinking. All of that, people still go home and don't be disciplined. Like, your liver is not functioning. Like, if you just tell somebody straight up, your liver is gonna fail you next year if you don't stop drinking. Versus, well, it doesn't look too bad. Like, I feel like you should just be straightforward like that, especially when it comes to, like, a hospital setting. There's people you can't play about the health.
Yeah, they gonna run the world one day.
But in this day and age, do they let people on the spectrum like that are autistic? Are they, like, allowed to become doctors and stuff like that?
Carneke.
I didn't hear the ending. Are they allowed to let them
become like doctors and like have?
If they are, like I said before, if they high function, yes. I don't think they allow them to start trying to live their daily life, and you gotta understand they are more advanced in knowledge than us, so they could be greater than what we are.
Yeah. So what advice do you have? Any other gems, advice, tips, tricks, strategies you have?
Or any words of wisdom?
Yeah.
Just the main thing, just be patient and understand that they are struggling, just like we are struggling as well on different aspects, and just help them day by day, minute by minute, and just focus and be patient. Patient is key.
Yes.
In this field.
And love.
And love them, yeah, I feel like, and then treat them like they are the human beings that they are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Extraordinary, I say.
Are the same.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your time.
That was good. I learned a lot.
Yes, I learned a lot too about being a parent.
I learned about being a parent, and then just about autism period, because I didn't know it can just like develop later on. I thought like you would notice it when they younger. So that was something for me to understand too. And maybe when people bring it up again, like my child didn't start acting like this till I can tell them that sometimes it don't happen as soon as the baby is born, but it develops over time.
Yeah,
and you start seeing the signs over time. You might not see it immediately. I think that's important to know.
Yes, it is.
All right, tell everyone where they could find you at on your socials.
You can find me on Instagram at CVRNEKE. My TikTok is the same, CVRNEKE. And that's all the social media I have.
Okay, we love you so much. We thank you.
Love you too.
Thank you.
Love you. And with that being said, do everything with love,
with class, and with peace, pretty girls.